Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
We talk with an Anderson County man that called 911 so he can be taken to jail.
Tonight, state police are investigating after a man was found shot to death in Floyd County.
And police are trying to track down two rare masks after they say someone stole them from a Lexington museum last weekend. WKYT News at 5:30 starts now. Good evening to you. He was a man on the run, but tonight an Anderson County fugitive is behind bars after police say he turned himself in.
Police say that Justin Ransdell faced multiple drug charges. We're told that Friday he called 911 and asked police to take him to jail. As WKYT's Sam Smith tells us, Ransdell is hoping his time in jail will give him a second chance. He has our top story at 5:30.
I'd been on the run once before and I had absconded from my probation, and I figured that it was going to be better off for me to just go ahead and turn myself in and get all this behind me.
Justin Ransdell is 22 years old. He says now is the time to turn his life around.
I've been using drugs since about the age of 9 years old.
Last year, he was charged with endangering the welfare of a minor and meth distribution. He was on probation for those offenses, but new DUI and possession of controlled substance charges violated the conditions of his probation. A bench warrant was issued for his arrest 2 weeks ago. He tells me on Friday his mother learned that he absconded probation supervision, so he turned himself in that same day.
I don't want to make it no harder on myself than it already is.
Ransdell called 911. A deputy picked him up at his mother's house in Anderson County, and he was taken to the Shelby County Detention Center. He says it's where he needs to be right now.
I've got a problem, so I've got to find that solution, and the solution is to stay away from the drugs, people, places, and things.
He'll find out how long he'll stay behind bars at the end of this month. In Anderson County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Ransdell says he faces a 3-year sentence for violating his parole.
Tonight, police are investigating a murder after a man was found shot to death. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Floyd County. Police tell us it happened on Kentucky 321 across from the Hayden Trailer Park just north of Prestonsburg. The road is closed right now while police investigate. Neighbors who live in Butcher Trailer Court across from the scene say they heard gunshots and then immediately called 911. Police say when they arrived, they found a 35-year-old man with gunshot wounds. Right now, police say they do have a person of interest but have not made any arrests. In Breathitt County, police are investigating a deadly accident after a pedestrian was hit by a car. State police tell us it happened on Kentucky 476 last night. They say Noah Campbell was walking along the highway and stepped into the westbound lane when he tried to cross the road. At that time, a car came around the corner and hit him. Campbell was pronounced dead at the scene. We're told the driver was not injured.
It was a celebration at Lexington's Living Arts and Science Center, but people there are not celebrating tonight after two valuable pieces of art went missing. WKYT's Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk with the latest on the search for the stolen items. Jennifer, they want them back, don't they?
They do, Sam, and this all happened during the Day of the Dead celebration last Saturday. Hundreds of people visited the center on North Martin Luther King Boulevard. Then the next day, as staff members were cleaning up after the party, they noticed two decorative masks were missing. They're part of a collection of hand-carved masks from Mexico that are on loan from a private collector. The center's executive director, Heather Lyons, does not believe whoever stole the masks will be able to sell them.
For me, I think it was probably more someone really admired them and decided they wanted them for themselves. I think because they are one of a kind, it would be difficult to try to sell them.
Each mask is around 40 years old and valued at about $500. Lyons says since the center is a nonprofit, it would be very difficult to find the money to pay back the owner for the stolen items. Lyons says she hopes whoever took the masks will have second thoughts and return them to the center, no questions asked. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
This was the 9th year for the Living Arts and Science Center's Day of the Dead celebration. Lyons says this is the first time something has been taken from a collection. dreary day. Cold, wet out there with more rounds of showers moving in overnight.
Yeah, and it looks like some more winter weather could be headed our way this weekend. Even that dreaded four-letter word. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at your forecast. Maybe flurries. It could give you that,
some
right?
Snow flurry. And you know what? At this point, after we had accumulating snows into parts of the area, Halloween night flurries, psh, we laugh at that after last winter time. Here's a little look outside, and Sam mentioned that dreary view. Hamburg Pavilion in the distance, and we have some light rains falling here in Lexington. Current temperature is at 53%. Humidity's up there. Just a raw afternoon and evening that is underway. That was the view from our front door looking out across Hamburg Pavilion. Here's what Defender is seeing with that same view, and that is a lot of rain action now wall to wall across the downtown Lexington area and surrounding parts of the Bluegrass region. Those steadier rains just getting into Georgetown and Paris, lifting their way on in from southwest to northeast. There's a band of some moderate rain showing up from around Beattyville in Lee County, just to the north of McKee, on top of Berea. And look at the reds even showing up here around Lancaster and the northern parts of Lincoln County as well, near Stanford, where you see those darker greens, some yellows, the oranges, and a little bit of red. It is really coming down, and some folks already picking up better than 1 inch of water on the day. Southeastern Kentucky, you will get the bulk of the rain as we make our way into tonight and tomorrow morning. Northeastern parts of the area just now beginning to rain again around Morehead State University with that southwest to northeast flow. Showers on the move. We will track colder air that follows that up, and Arctic air begins to show up at the end of that 7-day forecast when I come back in a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. A Floyd County dog is getting some help tonight. Earlier this week, a German Shepherd was found severely abused. We're told the dog was found in Prestonsburg with gunshot wounds to her head and multiple other injuries. The Arrow Fund, a nonprofit organization in Louisville that deals with animal cruelty cases, picked her up and immediately took her to get help.
She was just immediately taken back to be assessed. I then got to snap just a very few pictures, then she was off to surgery. But I always tell them that that nobody's ever gonna hurt them anymore. And that, you know, she's safe now.
Well, leaders from the Arrow Fund say the dog received a transplant last night. Right now they say they are taking things one day at a time to figure out if she'll need additional surgery.
And just as the holidays are coming up here, there's a new scam targeting shoppers. Here's how you can protect yourself.
The holidays are right around the corner, but before your shopping cart hits the aisles, be aware of a new scam. It starts with this postcard. Great news! You're eligible to receive a $100 in gift savings good at Walmart or Target. Denise Johnson was thrilled.
It was at a time when I wasn't working. I thought, hey, $100 from Target or Walmart, I could really use this money.
So Denise called the toll-free number.
It was a gentleman on the phone, and he proceeded to tell me what I had won.
All she had to do is pay a small fee, delivery fee, handling fee to receive the gift card, and they would need her credit card number.
Denise gave her credit card number, but immediately became skeptical.
And they asked her for her date of birth, social security number, personal information about her, and that's whenever she knew something wasn't right.
She hung up and called her credit card company immediately.
As soon as he asked for that credit card number, I just should have hung up the phone.
Denise learned her lesson. Postal inspectors say consumers need to be vigilant in protecting their personal information as the holidays approach.
If you're supposed to be getting something for free, there should not be any charge.
Neither Target or Walmart knew anything about this scam. Postal inspectors say that if you question whether an offer is legitimate, call the stores being mentioned first and ask them if they know anything about the offer.
Still to come here on WKYT, Kentucky Speaker of the House talking in Frankfort today. And we got more about one of the issues that he hopes to address in 2015.
I'm Bill Bryant. Senator Mitch McConnell on his way to the top job in the U.S. Senate. And Andy Barr returns to Washington after winning re-election and carrying Fayette County along the way. The bottom line is coming up.
And coming up at 6, why hundreds of people were in the dark today after an accident in downtown Lexington.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
It was a heated race, but today Senator Mitch McConnell is back on the job in the U.S. Senate.
And Senator McConnell is not the only one returning to Washington. Congressman Andy Barr is also headed back to the Capitol after winning a second term. Bill Bryant has the bottom line.
Good evening. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has congratulated his apparent successor, Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, and said the two can work together going forward. McConnell's margin of victory was wider than many, even in his own campaign, expected. He carried 111 of 120 Kentucky counties. He carried Democratic counties like Pike and Magoffin that had eluded him before. Democrat Allison Lundergan Grimes, who ran 15 points behind McConnell statewide, did carry the state's largest cities of Lexington and Louisville. Herald Leader reporter Sam Youngman says the margin that McConnell won with wasn't detected by polls before the race.
Reflected here what happened nationally. It was a bad night for Democrats around the country, and the blame right now is all going to the White House. Now, I will say that I think it was more severe here, the president's unpopularity, and I think that probably accounts for the enormous margin that we ended up seeing on Tuesday night.
Republican Congressman Andy Barr also returns to Washington after winning a second term representing Central Kentucky. He soundly defeated Democratic challenger Elizabeth Jensen. And Barr also managed to post a victory in Fayette County, which has become increasingly tough for Republicans to do in recent years. Barr carried Lexington by about 5,000 votes. Jim Gray was back on the job as Lexington mayor this morning after a convincing win over former police chief Anthony Beatty. Gray becoming the first Lexington mayor since 1998 to win re-election. In Richmond, Jim Barnes has another 4 years as mayor after defeating City Commissioner Laura Durham King in a hard-fought race there. But Madison County Judge Executive Kent Clark was tossed out by voters after more than 20 years. Republican Reagan Taylor won by more than 3,000 votes. We have full election results online for you at WKYT.com. And for those of you who just can't wait, statewide elections are next year. The primary now about 6 months away in May. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Kentucky House Speaker Greg Stumbo was in Frankfort today to talk about his agenda for the upcoming year. His main topic of conversation, minimum wage. Stumbo says he is prepared to propose another minimum wage bill in 2015. He hopes to raise the minimum wage and give voters the option to impose a sales tax on themselves to pay for projects.
We're going to continue to protect public education. We're going to continue to protect our most vulnerable citizens, and we're going to continue to work where we can across the aisle with our friends from the minority party.
He also hopes to create gender equality laws, make it easier for former felons to vote, and strengthen domestic violence protection for victims.
Rain across the area continuing to pick up, but it's the cold air that is coming in behind the rain that we'll focus on when I get back in just a few minutes.
I'm Phil Pendleton in Louisville. At 6 o'clock, we'll have the latest on Mitch McConnell being elected to his 6th term in Congress, as well as his likely new position as Senate Majority Leader.
Also coming up at 6, a man accused of killing a Lexington teenager has agreed to a plea deal. We'll tell you how long he could spend in prison.